being someone who's created a brand around studying and being successful at, the academic side of life, and then ending up in Oxford, one of the, most academically prominent institutions in the world, you must be in a situation where you deal with people quite, I would say, on a regular basis, probably not in person, but more on the online side of things, that come at you from an element of jealousy, or don't understand where you're coming from, don't understand the institution. Would you say that you have to regularly deal with negative press around Oxford and your choice to be there and how Oxford is presented?
Yeah, I think jealousy is the main thing that I've had to I think that's where the main source of negativity towards me comes from, which took me a long time to figure out. I was always like, why don't people like me? What am I doing wrong? And it wasn't that I was doing things wrong, it was that I was doing things right, and doing things, and that was really hard for me to deal with, because I personally don't really see myself as a person that you would envy, right? For me personally, I can't see why somebody would want to be me or would want my life. And so learning to deal with a lot of hate that came from jealousy is one of the worst emotions you can feel. It can ruin friendships. It can ruin a lot of things. And it's a really, really horrible emotion to express in hate, like in comments, but I can see it. I can see that. The hate around Oxford started from the day that I actually got in to Oxford. When I uploaded my video saying that I got in, I got a lot of...
It started all the way there.
I got a lot of comments. So because Jade and Ruby had also applied that year, and we'd all sort of uploaded videos on the same day, obviously with differing results. My day was kind of ruined. It should have been a really, really happy day, but a lot of people were just commenting on mine, like, you didn't deserve it. The place should have gone to Jade, it should have gone to Ruby. You're like a con, like you only got in because you do an easy degree, like all of this sort of stuff. And of course Jade and Ruby deserved a place, like there's no doubt about it. But that was really, really hard to deal with. And since then,
did that cause any divisions between you three, or was it more just...
I hope it didn't. I don't think it did. I think Jade and Ruby are both really happy where they are now. It was obviously awful on the day. Like, I didn't even know what to say, because in my head I'd gone through so many different scenarios of, okay, so maybe I won't get in and Jade and Ruby will, or maybe none of us will get in, or maybe we'll all get in. But I honestly cannot stress to you enough, I had never reckoned with the fact that I might get in and they both wouldn't. And so it was very difficult, I think, for all of us, because we were all getting a lot of support, of course, but also a lot of negativity, because people compare us more than we compare ourselves with each other. And so that was really not very fun. I can imagine it was a lot less fun for them anyway, so I'm not trying to say that like it was awful for me. But some of the comments were really, I had to just turn I just had to look away for the whole day, because people were just being really nasty. And nowadays I definitely do get a lot of people. I uploaded a video about Oxford stereotypes, and people were just like, Oxford just seems like the worst place ever, it just seems so snooty. And like, I'm there to try and dismantle those stereotypes. Like I by no means had it absolutely awfully in life. I was really lucky that I managed to get into the one good school in my area by doing an entrance exam, and that school is the only reason I got into Oxford, really. None of the other schools in my area have really sent anybody to Oxford in a long time, so I'm lucky in that respect. But everyone's always like, it's just filled with like posh snooty people, and everyone's just really awful, and that can really get to me sometimes, because I know that Oxford has got big problems. But there are also people like me and V who are all there trying to like show that you can go to Oxford if you didn't go to private school. You can go to Oxford if you're from a family that's not super wealthy. So yeah, basically.
No, I respect that you're trying to destigmatize it a little bit, and I think that's really important. In terms of your personal journey with that, how have you mentioned, like, turning off comments and things like that. Is there any other things that you've really focused on maybe in the last year in terms of dealing with that negative press? Maybe being on social media less, or...
I would like to say I'm on social media less. When I was really, really low in first year, I was on it just obsessively, just checking to see what people were saying and what people were thinking, because I was in such a bad place mentally. But now I would say I definitely go on social media a lot, obviously. Do I care as much? No, I would say I don't read my hate forums anymore. I have 2 hate forums that are dedicated to me, and I used to read them obsessively and get read.
That's quite self-destructive, isn't it?
Yeah, but of course, if people are writing horrible things about you, you want to know what they're saying, because sometimes you think, oh, maybe they're right. And sometimes, I'm not perfect, but it can eat at you, and it makes you really defensive. It makes you a really bitter and really defensive person. It made me really defensive in my videos, me trying to defend myself. So I can't remember the last time I read it. If I see a negative comment now, I delete it. There's very little that gets to me on YouTube anymore, really, because I've been on it for so long, and I really have learnt to value what my friends and family think of me. That's what's important to me. If my friends and family message me and they say you've done something wrong, then of course then I will take that to heart and I will change. But if I've got anonymous people on the internet telling me that I'm eating my breakfast at the wrong time, or that I've gained weight or I've lost weight, people love to comment on my weight. Which for someone who struggled with food really, really badly for a long time is really not great. But I don't really care anymore, because I'm like, who are you? I watch videos on YouTube all the time that I'm a bit like, okay, but do I take the time to go to the comment section and write something horrible? No, I just click off the video. And so it shows a lot more about them than it does about me, really, that they're willing to comment that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a bit. In a bit more detail. In terms of, aside from your personal experience, and a bit more in terms of general Oxford, do you think Oxford gets sort of a negative association because of the atmosphere that you've talked about a little bit amongst the colleges? That atmosphere of almost superiority, either that the students perpetuate or the tradition of the institution itself perpetuates. Do you feel that that's the case?
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, really, because the university it has been ranked this year the best university in the world. So it's the best university in the world, right? So that's what the ranking tables think. And the style of teaching there is different to Leeds or Manchester. That doesn't make it better than Leeds or Manchester to go to, right? Whatever uni you pick is a personal choice. And I know people that are way cleverer than me that have gone to Leeds or Manchester or whatever, and who are doing very well for themselves and whatever. Where Oxford and Cambridge do differ is that their terms are very short. We have 8-week terms, and we have all of the work that normal university students, see, this is what I mean, not normal, but non-Oxford university students have, but we just have it compressed. And that's what makes Oxford difficult. It's not that we're out here intellectually superior to everybody else. Honestly, I've had some language seminars where we've been going over the verbs, the vocab for trees and stuff. We still do just basic stuff, but it's just very compressed and it's very fast paced. And the amount expected of you is a lot, which should be expected because, they're very hot on their academic rigour. At Oxford, that's their favourite phrase, academic rigour. Even during the pandemic, it was everything's going ahead as normal because academic rigour, we've got to maintain that. So I would say I get a lot of bitterness from people who are you just think that you're so much better because you go to Oxford. I'm not saying that I feel like I'm better than anybody else. As I've said, I literally feel like I suffer a lot with thinking that I'm worse than everybody else. But it's different. It is different. The teaching style is different. The term structure is different. And it means that the experience at Oxford and Cambridge is very unique. A lot of people at Oxford or Cambridge will tell you that they feel like sometimes their friends at other unis don't understand how different it is. Just as I wouldn't understand what it's like to go to Leeds, though, right? It's just it's a two-way street. Mm-hmm. But because it's Oxford, people automatically assume that the students fancy themselves something special. I'm really proud that I got into Oxford, but I don't look at anyone who's gone to another uni and think, oh, lol, peasants, It's just, it really baffles me. It was a decision that I made personally to go there, and I do complain about it, but just as everybody complains about everything, like, it's just normal. Like, you're allowed to complain about things that you don't like about your university, regardless of if it's Oxford or Cambridge or whatever. So yeah, but no. I think the uni fancies itself something special. Whether the students really do, I don't know. Some probably do, yeah. Do you know who really fancies themselves something special? The parents of students that go to Oxford. They love.
Oh, yeah.
They love it.
I can imagine.
My mother, honestly, no one asks, and she's like, yeah, my daughter goes to Oxford. Yeah.
You're just like, God, stop
It's
saying
literally
it.
just in the middle of Tesco or something, and you'll just be like, oh, my days.
You should just randomly tell someone.
Inside out, like we've all been led astray. We've been standing on the outside and trying to find our friends, like we're all just castaways. Feel like we've been missing out.